Hello and welcome. Chris from Missouri here, bringing you another video about vintage baseball cards. In this video, I'm going to show you a few cards, but as far as card showing goes, that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to give my thoughts about the National before the national content gets over. It's been a long time since I did a video, and partly because I didn't go to the National. So I'm going to give my view on setting at home, and then I'm going to show you some cards because I really a lot has been going on right now. I'm really busy with some life things, work things, and I'm going to share those with you. But I have some fun things going on too, like I'm doing a total remodel of a room that happens to be my card room. And the other, I'm going to turn my card room back into a bedroom, and so that's going on at the same time, and just a bunch of stuff going on. But for those of you that watch this, most of you know that in my former life, I was a school administrator at one time and a basketball coach. When I say one time, I did it for 18 years. I coached basketball for 18 years, but I really also enjoyed my time as a school principal, administrator kind of person. And I'm comparing this to the National. At the end of the year, one year, as I was, my duties were, kind of wrapping up in the school year. It was about the last week of school, and one of our administrators would take the crossing guards to a ball game. And a lot of times late in school years in a small school district, you don't have a lot of principals anyway, and so you got one going someplace and one going the other. You end up multitasking and doing other duties. Well, I ended up watching the elementary school, and the elementary principal was going to take a group of crossing guards to a baseball game to Royal Stadium. And one of the kids that was a crossing guard, usually your crossing guards are pretty good kids, taking on a responsibility like that, and they get rewarded. And I had this one kid that he wasn't in my normal school hours, but we're going to call this kid Maddox. And his name's not Maddox. I called everybody that was young Bubba, but we're going to call this kid Maddox. And Maddox was a good kid. He was a crossing guard, but he had been sick, and there was a couple other things, and he'd been gone from school and missed a couple tests, and he needed to make up those classes. Now, it was silly. They should have just said, you're good. You're good. Because he's going to get A's on the tests anyway. But the parents and the school decided they were going to keep him home, and not at home, but he wasn't going to get to go to the ball game, and he was going to have to sit in my office. And he sat in my office. He wasn't in trouble, but here he is with all his books and stuff, sitting in my office, thinking about the rest of the kids that were crossing guards that got to go to a ball game. And he looked at me and he said, "Coach Dameron, this may be the worst day of my entire life." Now, he's probably about 10. And I kind of chuckled a little bit. He said, "No, really. And this may be the worst day of my whole entire life ever." And I kind of laughed, and I said, "Maddox," I said, "there's going to be plenty of Royals games to go to." And he said, "Not during my third grade year." Now, I thought that was pretty funny. And I'm thinking I missed the National, sort of like Maddox did. I wasn't in trouble. I wasn't hurting for money. My wife wasn't mad at me. I got some stuff going on. They probably could have gotten done without me, maybe. But I stayed home. And I think I feel a little bit like Maddox did, because I missed out on some really cool things. I missed out on the first ever National Trade Night. I've missed out on this fiasco of the meet and greet by baseball card collectors. See, he was kind of down about how things went But I tell you what, 10 years from now, there's going to be 1,000 YouTubers and content creators and people that go to the National that's going to say they were there. And I might be that person, even though I wasn't. And so I missed out on that. I missed out on being with my friend Tom and my friend Coop, and Coop's son Cameron, driving to Chicago. I missed out on some big card hunting. I missed out on seeing other content creators that I have not met before. And I missed out on seeing some of my people that watched this that got to go to the National that I didn't get to see. And I missed out on my friend Finley becoming a vintage star. I think she everybody knows Finley now. If you look at some of the videos, she's a young girl, 9 years old. That's a vintage collector, and her and her dad I saw on several channels. So it kind of doesn't make me jealous. It kind of, oh, I wish I was there kind of thing. And so, I don't know, I thought I was going to get by this without it bothering me so much. I made it through. I didn't, I'm saving up money, I guess, so I can pick up a card. And I loved watching other people's videos. But I was going to make it through, I thought. And then I'll be dang, and I got to blame this on Picker Jim S. Who do you think you are, man? Here I am feeling pretty good about myself. Then I watch your latest video, and there you are with that big old smile, taking individual pictures of 20 and 30 different people, just smiling. And just, I look at that, and I know that smile is genuine that you have, and it looks like you're having a great time. And I missed out on that feeling. And so thanks a lot, Picker Jim. Now, there's going to be other shows. There's going to be other card shows. But there's only a limited amount of them. The National, the National is like the Super Bowl, though. I heard I think it was Baseball Collector was on a podcast and telling somebody, the Nationals like the Super Bowl. Well, I'm not a Super Bowl kind of guy. I'm a first game kind of guy. Let's take the Kansas City Chiefs. I loved it when they make it to the Super Bowl. And Wesker Griff, they're gonna come after your Eagles again this year, I believe. But I love it when they make the Super Bowl. But Super Bowl's flamboyant and around people that aren't. I mean, all my friends there are big collectors, but there's some collectors there that I don't know, maybe aren't as passionate about it, but kind of fake it. Sort of like the people that attend the Super Bowl sometimes. I'm more like an opening game kind of guy, a smaller venue, but I get a tailgate at home with my friends. Now, man, this is one Super Bowl I wish I was at, though. I wish I was at. And I loved it that everybody had a good time. I loved it that it was crowded. That means the hobby's strong, I believe. I love it that people are doing, that other YouTubers are doing content about it, because activity also makes it strong. I'm glad trade night was a success, because that kind of stuff means the hobby's strong, and it's not going anywhere. So I hope to attend next year's Super Bowl. I hope to. But if I don't, I hope it's a little bit easier to stomach. Now, while you guys were picking up big old cards there, I did get some stuff in the mail. But like I said, I'm fixing up a card room, and I'm excited to show you some stuff in future videos. I'm excited to show you things that I'm making and designing, and maybe it can inspire a few of you guys that are collectors to maybe want to do something. But let me show you some of these cards, and it's going to be hard for me to read this, but here's Ron Santo, 1962. I don't know if you're going to see this very good. My lighting's not good up here because I don't have a card room right now. 1970, Richie Allen. 1970, Jim Bunning. 1961, Hoyt Wilhelm. 1962, Robin Roberts. Now, I didn't name the sponsors of the videos beforehand, before I did this. But I tell you, the sponsor of this video is my friend Finley. Now, she's not doing YouTube content right now, but she's a sponsor of this. And you know what, Jim? Picker Jim S. is a sponsor of this video. And then another sponsor of this video, he's probably been a sponsor before, but he's, last year, one of my goals this year was to pick up a new friend. I believe I have. His name is Rob, and he's of Cash Cards. So get over there and watch it. He's got over 1,000 subscribers. He doesn't need any more. But does great content, and the reason he's a sponsor of this is he kind of kept me company through a couple of these days over the phone, watching some of these videos. So guys, even though I did not get to go, and I was sort of like Maddox being forced to stay home, I love doing what I'm doing. I love collecting cards. I love looking at cards. Thank you very much for watching this video and hearing me pout. And remember, guys, this is just a hobby. Collect what you like.